Hey Reddit. What was a great thing ruined by popularity? Like and subscribe was a fad. Share your fad in the comments. Mount Everest. Especially since there's only 1 or 2 days a season that people climb when conditions are optimal. There are literally queues of people waiting to go up some sections, and the overcrowding contributes to the number of deaths there each year. That's before you even start to think about the rubbish, trash left up there. Any restaurant Anthony Bourdain featured in his shows. Even he acknowledged this. These fantastic gems would subsequently be overrun with diners that they suffered from overcrowding and lower standards. Have you ever noticed there's a threshold where a song gets too popular and will live on with the memory of everyone thinking it was overplayed and annoying? Bothies. Basically the small cottages in remote parts of the Scottish Highlands that are left unlocked. Free to be used for shelter by people travelling the mountains. They're not well furnished or anything, but they act as a freely usable weatherproof shelter for anyone to use in a country where summer usually just means the rain is slightly less frigid. It used to be that they weren't too well known. The hill walking community used them, maintained them, and everyone observed an unwritten code of conduct where you'd make sure to leave it tidy, clean and ready for the next person to use. However, they suddenly experienced an upsurge in awareness. And a lot of them suffered for it. People would go to them so they could have a piss up in a scenic location and leave them covered in rubbish and shiz. Literal shiz. They're normally refurbished from long abandoned houses and frequently don't have toilets. So they're equipped with a shovel to bury your waste. People seemed to think they were free holiday homes that they could just take over. Some people just vandalized them for the fun of it. As a result, they suffered quite a bit. They should offer shelter from bad weather and a safe place to sleep. But now you have a bunch of entitled, lazy assholes who go and wreck them. Beaches. Once tourism starts, it usually has devastating effects on the flora and fauna. They had to close a beach off from the public in Thailand to give nature time to recover. Grooveshark. Effectively free Spotify Premium with every single song that you could think of on it. It was fucking awesome. I imagine its popularity drew too much attention to its multiple blatant copyright violations. It was fun while it lasted, though. Lindsay Lohan. Seriously. Cute and talented actress received way too much popularity with no guidance. Last year I did the Utah National and State Parks during the early spring off-season, and the measures they are taking to try to accommodate the massive number of visitors during the summer is incredible. Parking, lodging, sanitation, and safety are all becoming problems. And I hope that these places don't become victims of their own popularity. Arches really seems to attract people doing stupid, dangerous shiz. The iconic Delicate Arch is like a magnet for morons who don't prepare for the trail. Take risky selfies, vandalize and climb on things, and drink in places where there's 360 degrees of cliffs around you. Remember back when your father knew a faster, alternative route around a major traffic jam that actually was faster? Since the handheld availability of real-time traffic data and route optimization by Google Maps, an equilibrium of travel time has established such that everyone knows what's the best route is, and the traffic jam actually takes as long as the alternative route. Most of the historic monuments. The amount of markings all over them makes me sick. Plastic. It is a great material, but mankind does not know how to use it properly. Okay, I'm going to mix it up. Silphium. The plant used as a form of likely very effective birth control in the ancient Mediterranean. For this reason, and because it was apparently delicious, it gained popularity as a spice, aphrodisiac, and general cure-all, and became worth its weight in gold. Julius Caesar stockpiled the stuff. And it is one of the most plausible origins of the heart symbol and the association of that symbol with romance and doing the sex to people. Unfortunately, it only grew wild in and around Cyrene. An over-harvesting by the Romans after their takeover of the city drove silphium into extinction by the time of Nero. And that's why we had to wait 2,000 years for the pill. The original Facebook required an active college email and was a cool chill place. Now it's just a breeding ground for political horse shiz and Karens, anti-vax moms. To some extent. Amusement theme parks. They have to be popular to justify building new, state-of-the-art attractions. But eventually get so crowded that you need to buy special passes and get on a ride in less than 2 hours and can barely even find a place to sit when you want to rest for a minute. I live near Six Flags Great America, outside of Chicago. Anytime I've gone in the last 10 years it's been a ridiculous mass of humanity. More rides than ever. But every decent ride is like a 2-hour wait. Removed. Visiting Iceland. I absolutely fell in love with the country when I was there. But the popularity of it means, like any other trendy tourist destination, that it's now ruined by tourists being jackasses. I grew up near a national park that is also now ruined by overcrowding. So maybe I have a lower threshold for that sort of stuff than most. But watching idiots stomping all over fragile geothermal features 2 steps away from the "No walking on this area" sign just boils my blood. eBay. I remember being able to get an absolute bargain for almost anything I wanted. Now, every shop puts their shiz on eBay. The Joker Stairs in the Bronx was a nice little piece of architecture in a quiet area of Highbridge. Now Instagram dipshits are ruining it. There's more trash there than ever before. I feel bad for the local residents who have to put up with it. Basically any hit song gets overplayed so you end up hating it cause you can't escape it. Also probably a fair bit of TV shows. Rick and Morty is still good but the popularity led to creating a cringy-ass fanbase which can turn a lot of people off. Travel. It used to be fun and interesting. Now it's a competitive sport. Yik Yak. I loved Yik Yak in college. It was hilarious and had juicy anonymous gossip on it and it was a great place to just put down random thoughts. Then it started growing and people started using it for making blatantly racist comments anonymously. That led to more shiz that assholes would put on there, like putting people's full names in the stories and making bomb threats. A great example of a few people ruining it for everyone else. I live in Egypt and many of the most popular places are ruined by all the people there all year round. Airbnb. The idea of renting free room or sofa isn't bad at all. It turned into hard bussons. When companies owning dozens of apartments rent them to tourists. Meanwhile there is an apartment price and rent crisis. I guess living here isn't going to be affordable for middle class anymore. Sex with my ex-wife. Those T-Rex costumes. The internet in general. Baby Shark. Like 2 years ago it was a cute song to sing with my toddler. Now it's fucking everywhere. The NHL. They've made a whole TV series out of it. Frick. Just let it die. Frozen. Saw it in the cinema and really liked it, and by about 2 weeks later I was so sick of the fucking songs I couldn't bear to watch the film. Oh, to have younger siblings. Surprised no one has said this yet, but Netflix. Netflix was definitely ruined by its popularity. Not in the traditional, the consumers are at fault and made it bad, but because so many people loved Netflix every damn company had to make their own inferior version of it. Friendly reminder that shows like The Office gained popularity because they were on platforms people already owned. Not because they paid for Netflix to get The Office. Honestly, even though I hate them as a company, Disney was in the right for making a streaming service since they had a justifiable amount of content to form their own platform, but every other TV streaming service is crazy for thinking most people will pay for their shiz rather than resorting to pirating it. Anime conventions. Used to be a fun time to be weird and nerdy with a bunch of really weird and nerdy people. With shoestring budgets. Now it's a bunch of professional cosplayers who make costumes for a living. And large commercial things being marketed. And a lot of parents with their kids. AskReddit. Indie games. There are still some really cool indie games being made. But for every single good one there is 1,000 really shizzy ones. Just a few years ago I could go on Steam and find some great hidden gems. But now it's just an endless stream of shiz. Hundreds of wacky and random XD meme games like Brick Simulator or Third Reich Clicker with quality worse than 2010 Flash games. And porn. So much porn. The worst thing about this is that some really amazing games go completely unseen because they are drowned in this ocean of shiz. Deleted. Removed. Removed.